Well, it is a big anniversary today, as on this day, 73 years ago, King George VI, ruler of England, died following a prolonged illness.
His daughter, Elizabeth, then a princess, received the news while in Kenya. She cut the trip short to return to England, of course, where, in an instant, she became Queen.
So we're joined by royal commentator Angela Mollard. Good morning to you, Ange.
Morning.
Lovely to see you. 73 years on, such a pivotal moment in the history books. Elizabeth, we forget, was just 25.
25. When you think about it now, King Charles, of course, came to the throne in his 70s. William's going to potentially be quite an old man when he comes to the throne. To be 25, to be doing her father's work in Africa at that stage. She was in Kenya at treetops with Prince Philip, and he had to break her the news that day. Her father, of course, and this is what's also interesting, he had died of cancer, but at the time he'd not been told he had cancer. He had had a lung abnormality, had surgery, but so young for her to have taken on that role. And then, of course, that huge long reign, which lasted longer than any other monarch in history.
Now, speaking of milestones, not quite the same, but Queen Mary of Denmark celebrated her birthday. Her second birthday since taking the throne. Oh, they would have got the good cutlery out, wouldn't they?
They would have got the good cutlery out for that one. She was turning 53. Beautiful photo of her to mark this special occasion. And what people are talking about is that front and centre is her engagement ring. Now, she had her engagement ring changed to add 2 more stones. So there's now 5 stones. Apparently, that represents her husband and 4 children. And there's a discussion that she's sending a message that their family is intact, all things are good, of course, because just over a year ago, Frederick was seen in Madrid with a socialite. She's coming into her own. She really is doing this role so well. And everybody says that the key thing about Queen Mary is that she's the polished, strong, outward-facing one. Frederick's the more shy character, and it's her as the backbone of the monarchy which holds everything in place.
If I knew getting more diamonds onto your ring was a thing, I would have had more kids.
Really?
I mean,
well, I just stopped at 2. What was I thinking?
You can add a few more diamonds, Kylie.
It's not too late, Kylie. I mean, 36 is not late to have
No, it's not. Is it? On to Prince Harry, we move on. This coming weekend, the Invictus Games taking over Vancouver.
That's right, and some big names appearing. Chris Martin, Katy Perry. Yeah. I mean, he still has that pulling power, and I think the reason he does is because Invictus is so well regarded. It's now in its 11th year. It was started, all that time ago. It is a real success story for Harry, and it really resonates for him with his audiences. This is where he does what is so important to him and connects with his old military life. So it'll be wonderful to see it play out. It's a really good... the way it's regarded is really important on the world stage.
And back to Canada, where, of course, that's where they fled to, remember, when they first exited the royal family. So that will bring up a lot of feeling.
And no doubt a welcome distraction from everything else that's going on in there.
Well, I think we're going to talk about that.
Oh, let's do that. Speaking of Meghan, now, yesterday we reported on her going viral, right, after receiving some merch from Billie Eilish that was donated to a young fan affected by the
That's right. This young 15-year-old girl, she was family caught in the fire. She had this Billie Eilish T-shirt, which she absolutely adored. Meghan's met this young girl. She's reached out to her fan base and people she knows in Montecito to see if she can get in touch with Billie Eilish to get a replacement T-shirt. Billie sends the T-shirts via Adam Levine. Meghan then goes and publicises it. And here's where everything goes wrong. She's been called out for basically making it all about her. The editor of The Spectator uses the words, "It's nauseatingly contrived and actressy." It's very critical. All the comments, Kylie and I were just saying it. You know, there's this suggestion. What was it, Kylie, you were saying to me?
One of the comments written onto the post was that, or that the media then published, was that publicity and PR is done loudly and really good work and charity is done quietly.
And how true is that?
So that was just one member of the public's comment. And I thought that perhaps said a lot.
I agree with that. I think it's very hard for Meghan to get it right. And I think the key going forward is they need good advice. They cannot seem to retain a member of staff that can guide them accurately as to, if you do this, this is what will happen. And this is what's happened here.
OK. Princess Catherine has been seen a lot more in public this year. What do you make of her last appearance?
This is so interesting because, of course, she's been out. She's been so tactile. We saw that beautiful vision earlier this week with her holding the hands, travelling on a bus. The royals don't travelling on a bus. I love this, where she has got out of the car. She's been in the car. This little girl calls out to her. She makes a point of getting out of the car and going over and chatting to her. it's very natural. I think it's also really interesting that she's come out and said, I'm not going to be announcing what I'm wearing anymore, which I really like knowing what she's wearing. Not that I can afford it, but I love to know what it is. But she's really redrawing what it means to be a princess and how she's going to do it going forward. It's about focus on what she does, not what she's wearing, and it's very much things that matter to her. A lot of sentiment, a lot of feeling, and a lot of impromptu, like we saw there.
Very selfish.
Well, Kylie and I need to know what she's wearing.
Well, because morning shows around the world need to know what she's wearing.
Do you know
In our
what?
daily Catherine update, we need to say.
We will find out now.
Well, of course we will.
Fashion people will know.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
Yeah, we'll know what it is,
You
but
have
I
a
think
little
she's
app now,
saying,
don't you?
know what, I don't actually have to. This is sort of beneath the office to be doing that. If you want to find out, that's well and good.
And then the designers will put it out anyway.
Absolutely. She's also weighed in on this social topic, pleading for parents to put down their phone when raising the kids. What did she have to say around this?
She said, she basically, and this is her charity, the Early Childhood Charity, she's behind this announcement. She says you need to look into the eyes of your children and they need to see you not on your phone. Wonderful statement, but it begs the question, what are they going to do with Prince George? He turns 12 this year with social media. They are at that point of every other family that's children are coming towards teenagedom. How do you, as the future King of England, the first generation to be in the digital era, have a phone, have apps, have social media? How do you govern that as a parent? I think that's going to be one of their biggest challenges going forward. And one of the reasons why I think, and as we see in so much of what they put out, that family is first and that they turn to each other, because that has to be what holds them, where they can turn knowing it's safe.
I reckon Georgie Boy 2020, something like that. Don't you think something there? Because no one will guess that.
No one will get that.
You reckon?
Andrew, we've got to go. Who are you wearing today?
Some very cheap...
That's all right.
You look gorgeous. It's
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.